Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It kind of feels like it's been months since I've done a Skyrim video, but honestly, it's only been about a week. Well, maybe about longer than that when this video comes out, but I'm glad I got the chance to do another one. Eventually, I do plan on doing other game mod showcases on top of Fallout 4 and Skyrim, but that's for another time. Because as of right now, we got some of the best and newest combat mods that you should be using in 2024 to completely revolutionize your combat, and we're going to be doing that with simply 10 mods, no more and no less. So before we get into it, make sure you hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel, and let's dive right in. To start us off though, I'm going to be going big at the start because you guys have short attention spans, which is fair because I am the same way. But the first mod up is Hellblade Time Block. I used to use Valhalla, but this one just kind of fits me better because it has the time block of Valhalla without all the special effects. This can be used by enemies though as well, so you might want to be a little careful if you can help it. Because when you are staggered by this time block, you can dodge out of it like usual with Valhalla combat, so you will be vulnerable for counterattack. And the same goes for NPCs, so this really makes combat harder. But not only does it make combat harder, it also adds more depth to it, so you aren't just spam clicking one another, because now NPCs can counter and kill you. I do want to mention though, there is two versions of Hellblade Time Block. The one on Nexus isn't as fancy as the one that you'll find on ModForge, which is the one that I'm using. That one on ModForge has special effects and time slow, so it will look closer to Valhalla combat. This one just simply adds a stagger animation that applies to your character that makes it seem like time is moving slowly, but everyone else around you will still move at the same speed. But speaking of everyone else around you, to balance out Hellblade, because if you get staggered and you are surrounded by a bunch of enemies, you're probably going to die in 2 seconds. So to fix that, we will be using a mod called Wait Your Turn, Enemy Circling Behavior, which does exactly what you probably think it does. It makes it so enemies will move like a turn-based game. One will attack you, then stop, then the other will start attacking you, so that you'll never be able to guess who's about to attack you, but they'll never be jumping you so that you never have a chance to fight back. Even if you don't use Hellblade, this is the perfect underrated combat mod so that you can actually use the combos that you have set up in Attack Modern Combat Overhaul, because without this mod, you'll probably get one attack off before they start spam attacking you again, and then you just have to dodge or run away. And that just kind of ruins the fun because you spend hours setting up attack animations just to not even be able to see the full combo. Also, just a quick disclaimer, this mod does work with Combat Pathing Revolution, but I kind of wanted to try and make this work on all versions of Skyrim and not just Special Edition because sometimes people feel left out. The next major mod you'll want to grab is NPCs Take Cover, which is a newer mod by Serpa. This mod just makes it so that you can no longer cheese NPCs, hence why it's in the name Smarter Anti-Cheese AI. So whenever you're in a location that NPCs can't reach, like on top of a rock and they can't hit you, they will no longer just sit there at the bottom and just stare at you while you kill them with arrows. They will now instead throw insults at you and also run away and hide behind cover until you are in a location that they can actually reach, which is why they're smarter now. Some people did say that this was already in vanilla Skyrim, but I never experienced it myself, so I can say personal experience that it was not. But it's definitely there now, and it will completely make combat harder, but also funner, because most situations where you can't beat an enemy, you usually go stealth archer and hide on a rock if we get noticed. Especially with sky climb being a thing now, we can pretty much climb anything and just pretty much cheese any NPC. Unfortunately now though, you can no longer do that and have to actually face the consequences of your action. Unless you have some overpowered explosion magic that can hit behind cover, because then otherwise you can still pretty much cheese it. Can't cover everything. The next mod is kind of two mods, but I'll explain each one so you know exactly why you need both of them. The first mod is called Paulicus Poison Block, which essentially finally lets you block poisonous attacks. So every time a farmer shoots a poison arrow at you, you'll finally be able to block it rather than actually dying from poison rather than actual arrow damage. But it's also the same for Frostbite Spider spitting poison at you. You can now full on block that. Your character may still have the effect overlay if you get hit by it, but otherwise if you're blocking and you actually block it like you didn't get hit from behind, then you will actually full on block the poison. It also has patches for potion type mods in case you need it, because some of them add new poison types, which can affect this mod and prevent it from fully working. The next mod does the exact same thing, but instead for enchantments, hence why it's called Block Enchantments. It's pretty much a simple mod honestly, but this one pretty much works for the player and NPCs. So now for the enchantment effects to actually trigger on the enemy, you have to actually hit them. So no more cheesing by spam attacking enemies that block forever, because now you have to actually power attack. Just make them break guard. And then if you got Hellblade, then they might counter you and stagger you. So as you can see, I'm kind of aiming for a theme here, and that's to not spam attack through everything or power attack through everything, because now everything has to be strategic or otherwise you will be countered. And you can't cheese by spam attacking enchantments now. But honestly, this works out more for the player than it does for NPCs because they rarely block on time. I pretty much found this because I got tired of getting killed by vampires with the Drain enchantment. And just one last more utility mod, this mod is called Less Sniper-like NPCs. This makes NPCs actually miss with their arrows or bolts or magic. It doesn't make sense that every NPC is like a trained 50-year-old sniper. So now this mod pretty much nerfs them to the perfect percentage. There are two options though between the percentages. There's a 70% and 50%, with the 70% meaning they miss more. I'm not going to pretend to know the full details of the mod because that would require Xedit, which I didn't feel like going into, but it just works. So now you can focus on the enemy in front of you that is blocking 24/7 rather than arrows killing you 90% of the time. And now that I'm saying it, that seems like a strategy that they have. And now we can get back into the major mods. So the next mod you're going to need is Enemy Evolution of Skyrim. This mod pretty much expands on NPC's inventory of skills, so now they can and will use spells that were previously only allowed for your character. They will now throw fireballs at you or use new lightning spells. And what's also great about this mod is that it has so many patches for new magic mods that you wouldn't expect it to have, and also older magic mods that haven't been updated in quite a while. So you might find yourself getting bullied if you use too many magic mods, especially ones that are overpowered. But I mean, that would be your own fault because you could just not turn those patches on. Because the patches for this mod aren't really needed because this mod is pretty much compatible with everything and doesn't use any scripts. But turning on those patches will just add more to their inventory and allow them to use more spells. This mod does say it needs another mod, which is called Enhanced Atronachs, but it doesn't. That is just a soft requirement, and it just buffs Atronachs to be able to use new elemental based spells. Because in base game they are pretty boring and weak. They're pretty much just sandbags for you to counter enemies. If the mod does interest you though, I highly recommend to try it, but it is 100% not needed. Next mod up, we got one of my personal favorite combat mods. This mod is called Sekiro Combat S. The mod page will tell you not to mix this with certain other combat mods, and I will always advise to follow instructions because mod authors do know their mod the best. But I do it anyway with Sekiro Combat S because it's such a small mod and it also has cool block effects. There is another mod for simple block effects which is called Simple Block Sparks, but this one is 100% better, at least in my opinion. And honestly, that is pretty much the main reason why I use this. Simply for the block sparks, but this mod also allows you to block certain types of spells like Fireball. So it also does come with other little small features that you can use on top of your combat. So it's not just all visual effects with this mod. This is kind of where Valhalla Combat got its parry effect from, but this one is rarer and happens more often because it happens on a simple block rather than having to time it for a perfect parry. The next mod up is a very new mod named Simple Beheading, and it works on all versions of Skyrim, hence why it's named NG. This is basically like locational damage if you ever use that, so now if you aim at the head of NPCs and also if they aim at your head as well, so you might want to be careful, there is a chance that your attack will also cause the enemy to be beheaded. This effect can trigger with normal or even power attacks, but the enemy does have to be low health, otherwise it won't even trigger at all. Think of it like a new execution system that takes more skill to activate. But you can also edit this in its ini file and explore to increase the chances of beheading if you want to make it overpowered, but honestly the base setting for this ini is more balanced in my opinion because it allows power attacks to have a higher chance than regular normal attacks to cause a decapitation. Honestly, I wasn't even going to showcase this mod at first, but not enough people seem to be using it. But you guys need the mod Dual Wield Parrying SKSE. This mod pretty much lets you edit it in its ini file so it doesn't take up a plugin in your low order, but it basically allows you to block while using magic, so you can actually use a sword while using fire instead of having to sacrifice damage for a shield. Because now you can actually block and also still shoot magic. It's really a simple mod once you get it set up, but it's 100% needed. Alright, that was it guys. People were asking for a simple combat guide, and honestly, this is what I use for a simple combat setup that's really not script heavy, but looks modern at least. So let me know what you guys thought down below in the comments, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.